all, welcome back. I wanted to give you a little introduction to what our now online class will look like. I've got this new syllabus which is posted up here, this first Word document, revised syllabus and schedule. So that's what we'll be following. I just wanted to kind of go over that with you and make sure everyone is on board. So what I did is I posted just a Word document. The things that I'm changing are highlighted in track changes, so you can see the things that are different because of the online format. So I'm still happy to meet and talk with you. I'm available via Zoom or FaceTime. Just send me an email and we'll set up an appointment. I also sent out an email about the Remind app. A number of you expressed concerns about remembering things, and there were also a number of you who didn't have reliable internet access at home and were worried about missing deadlines because of that. So I'm hoping the Remind app, I think you can set it up to even send you text messages, so I'm hoping that will help deal with some of your concerns. So please make sure to get on that, and I'm going to try to use it regularly. Okay, so the first big thing is you're going to have to kind of figure out how to readjust your timing. Just remember that you're still expected to spend kind of roughly the equivalent amount of time that you did spend on our face-to-face class in our online class. So that's about 3 hours a week of class time plus 2 to 3 hours of work outside of class. So you should be kind of thinking in terms of your schedule of spending 5 to 6 hours a week on this class. So especially if you're working from home, which I know you all are, I encourage you to kind of figure out a schedule, maybe block out the times that we used to be in class to make sure that you have time set aside to work. Don't save everything till Sunday night when most things are due. That's a bad idea in general, but especially for this class, as you know, some of the material is challenging, some of the things you need more practice on, and so it's going to be really important that you give yourself the time. In addition, I'll talk about the question and answer sessions, but those will happen on Thursday and Fridays, and so if you have done the material and know where you're having issues or where you're concerned, then on Friday when we do our question and answer session, I can address them before you have to turn things in on Sunday. If you don't look at the material until Saturday or Sunday night, you won't know where you have questions. So in order to succeed in this online format, just a couple of suggestions. So like I already said, stay on top of the material, read the textbook, and I've posted complete notes, which I know some of you also commented on. The PowerPoint slides are from here on out, as long as we're online, are posted. They're complete and there are even notes in them, so they should be a useful tool for you. And I've also posted video lectures, so take advantage of those and rewatch them or re-review them if you need to. Make sure that you're not missing the assignments. They're an important part of your grade, but also they help you understand the material. And then ask questions. So as I mentioned, we're going to be having question and answer discussion forum, and then a live discussion sessions in which I answer the questions that you've posted. So make sure you participate in this, because this is really our opportunity for me to figure out where you're struggling and address those issues. You're also welcome to email me if you have individual questions. Just be aware that I'm not necessarily checking email as usual on the weekends or outside of business hours. So don't wait until Saturday night and then email me and expect a response. Do your work ahead of time so that you can get your questions addressed. While our classes are online, there's going to be recorded lectures posted for most of the topics. If we return to face-to-face classes, there will be no longer recorded lectures, but I've made substantial changes to the syllabus, or some changes to the syllabus, in terms of assignment due dates and course grading. And I just want to be clear, even if we go back to face-to-face classes, the change due dates and the way you're submitting assignments, all of that is going to stay the same. So the only thing that will change if we go back to face-to-face classes is, instead of an online lecture, we'll do the lecture in class. But these assignments and these changes are going to stay no matter what. Also, just a final note about the online lectures. There's two versions of the lectures. The first one is kind of a high quality audio lecture, but in order to see that, you need to make sure you have the most up-to-date flash players, and they need to be activated, and they work best in Google Chrome, and so sometimes they don't work very well. So if you use them and you can see them, you can select specific slides to repeat and things like that. So that works well. But if that's not working on your computer or your iPad, I also have a lower quality YouTube link to the video that just is a straight through video, just to make sure that everyone can see it. The only note here is I know that everyone has the iPads and may be working from them. There is a Moodle app that exists. It does not work well. So if you haven't already experienced this, I do not recommend that you use the Moodle app. Instead, use Safari or some other internet browser for accessing content, submitting assignments, taking your tests, things like that. Okay, in terms of course evaluation, the first thing to change is the assignments, although they haven't changed that much. They're just all going to be submitted on Moodle. The assignments are due on Sundays at 11:55 p.m. I will drop your lowest assignment. I also just wanted to note that we kind of ended before spring break right at the very end of chapter 7. I think some of you turned in your assignment before break. Some of you were going to turn it in right after break. I've just decided to drop it all together, so you do not need to worry about that one. Another big thing that we need to figure out is our final project. So we have our data collected. You've written your introductions. I've graded some of them, but not all of them. So I will be going through and you will be getting feedback on that soon. What I've decided is I think it will be slightly more challenging to do the final project online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it off a little bit in hopes that we will go back to face-to-face classes. So the final project basically is we're going to put a pin on it until the last 2 weeks of classes. And in the last 2 weeks of classes, we're not covering any new material. So during that time, we're going to focus exclusively on the final paper. If we're face-to-face, then that'll mean we can analyze your results together in your groups, and I'll give you face-to-face instructions on writing the paper. If we're still online at that point, what I'll do is I'll post a series of videos with step-by-step guides for each section, and we'll also have question and answer sessions so I can address any of your concerns. So for now, be on the lookout for the feedback on your introduction section. We will get back to this. We do have the data, but we'll come back to it in those last 2 weeks of classes. I've just eliminated the final project presentation. That 5% counts towards your class assignment. So your class assignments are worth a little bit more now. In terms of tests, so for the rest of the semester, we're going to have one test per chapter. They'll be online, obviously. You can only take each test once. Although on the multiple choice sections, I've allowed you to select multiple answers, but you'll receive half a point penalty for each. So it's a pretty substantial penalty for incorrect answers. The final exam is going to be cumulative and optional, as it was before, although it will be online. Again, regardless of whether we come back or not, it's still going to be online. And like before, it'll replace your lowest test score. Now, because of the shift online, we have kind of a weird gap in our testing. So before spring break, your first test covers chapters 1 to 3, and the second covered chapter 4 to 6. We covered chapter 7, but you haven't been tested on it. Rather than asking you to remember something that was, 3 weeks ago at this point, I've decided you're just not going to be tested on chapter 7. The only exception is that chapter will be on the final exam. So make sure that you do need to know the material in order to take the final exam. But for the rest of the chapters we're going to cover this semester, chapter 8, 10, and 11, those will be tested individually. Okay, so most of these policies and procedures are the same, but the last thing is the course schedule. So I've completely revamped the way I did this. I encourage you to print this out so you have it. You can check off what you've done because these are your assignments for each week. Okay, so we're going to spend the next 2 weeks on complex designs. It's a big chapter, so I want to make sure that everyone is really clear on it. And let me just show you, this mirrors our Moodle page. So if we go down, I left up, it's in slightly different format, but I left up everything we've covered thus far. But from here on out, I've got things organized by week. So this is the complex designs. The first week on complex designs, you're going to read chapter 8. I've got that complete PowerPoint. I've got the 2 different versions of the audio lecture. This one, I really wanted you to have a lot of practice. So I've got these stretching exercises that are recommended. You don't need to turn them in, but I really, really strongly recommend you do this. When we're face-to-face, I spend like an entire week doing these exercises in class. So I think that they are very important. So I encourage you to try them on your own after you've listened to the lecture and read the chapter. And then I have the answer key, so you can go and make sure you're understanding and getting the right answer. And then your assignment for the first week is to read Bolduc and Demand and do the assignment. And then I also mentioned these live question and answer sessions. So for extra credit, I encourage you to do it even if you don't get extra credit for it, but on Thursday, by Thursday at noon, if you post a question in this extra credit question and answer questions discussion forum, we will have a live question and answer session on Friday at 9 a.m. at our normal class time. So what I'll do is I'll take a look at those questions. I'll come up with the answers and try to explain it. We will all meet via Zoom at our typical class time. And I'll answer the questions. And also, since it's live, if you're logged in, you can ask me any additional questions you have so that I can make sure everyone is really clear. If you can't attend that live session, it's not mandatory. I will record it and post it later. So assuming we don't have any technical difficulties, you should still have access to that information. But especially if you have more questions or want to talk to me directly, that's a good opportunity. So that's going to be our first week of online classes, and then I've got everything laid out for the next few weeks. So this schedule is going to be really important. We're going to be following this from here on out, so you can ignore the old syllabus. This is what we're going to be following. So please let me know if you have any questions, need any additional accommodations, or have any issues or concerns about these revised formats, and I will do my best to address them. I hope you all are healthy and feeling okay about this transition, and we're going to do our best to work together to make sure that we can do it in a format that works for everyone.